Welcome to the Service Impact Podcast. Today we're talking about SEO and why your traffic isn't converting. And joining me to discuss this particular issue is the Director of Digital Marketing at Outside Communications, Stacey Abler. Hey, Stacey, how are you?
Hey, Lance, I'm good. How are you?
I am awesome. So I've got all this traffic. I'm super stoked. Traffic's going up, and I think I'm awesome, but my gosh, my conversions have not changed at all. What's going on?
Yeah, so a couple of things could be at play, obviously, but I think the biggest thing that is driving it is that, a lot of people want traffic just for traffic's sake. They want like the impressive, impression numbers, or they want to say I rank number one on Google for XYZ. But all traffic is not good traffic. And so the focus really needs to be on the high quality traffic that's most likely to convert for you versus just getting a lot of impressions and getting a lot of clicks for click's sake. There's a lot of agencies out there that really focus in on the vanity metrics because those are the biggest, sexiest numbers in the whole thing. They can say, hey, we got you 2 million impressions last month. But if you're looking at your bottom line and saying, well, I didn't actually get any sales off of that, then the 2 million impressions is completely useless. So I think, that's one of the things is just making sure that when you're looking to grow the traffic on your website, you're looking to grow the right kind of traffic. And when you're working with an agency on that you're also tasking them with the correct goal. So the correct goal to give the agency is not grow the traffic to my website. The correct goal to give the agency is I need to get X number of leads and I want to do it through growing traffic on my website, so that the focus is on the bottom line and your leads, not on just somebody coming to the website.
Yeah, because there's been actually companies where we've come in, made significant changes, decreased their traffic, but increased their leads.
Exactly. So when you bring the right kind of traffic into the site, you can have a much better impact. You're also looking at less data, really, from an analysis standpoint. So instead of having these 2 million impressions and you're trying to sift through search terms and how they came to the site and what they did and all those things for people who didn't convert or you had very few conversions from, then when you have this high quality traffic bucket who are likely to convert, and you can take that information and then use that on additional platforms for audience targeting, then that can be incredibly beneficial to all of your campaigns, not just search.
So we've taken over accounts where impressions were really, everything on the account was all about impressions, and ultimately I think the company that became our client knew that there wasn't something right. But for those listening that are trying to understand, like, hey, am I getting the right information? What should their analytics look like? What are some of the qualities of their analytics that would be successful, where they could see, hey, this is actually working, this is actually helping us, and our bottleneck is we're not getting enough leads, or the bottleneck could be in your sales process too. But what are the attributes of an analytics program that would help somebody, an owner or a marketing executive, even know like where the problem is?
Right. So, the biggest thing is just the actual tracking, is setting up everything properly so that you're tracking data across. If you're running ads, you're doing that. Google Search Console, GA4, whatever your CRM program is, call rail, call tracking, all those different avenues that you can pull data in from your website. You want to make sure that those are coming in accurately with everything. While, the impressions can be the big sexy number that agencies throw about, you have to have impressions to get clicks. It's just the matter of getting the right impressions. And so you'd want to be able to track that over time. Some of the other metrics that are in Google Search Console can be a little deceiving. So, when we go in and take over an account and we start redoing content on their pages, and they start ranking, they went from ranking for 50 keywords to 200 relevant keywords, then their average position on the page may actually go in the wrong direction, right? It's going to show an average position that's lower or higher, depending on how you look at it. Second or third page of Google instead of the first page of Google. Because you have all these keywords that are just coming onto the scene, and they're going to have a lower ranking than these keywords that have already been established. So if you go in and just take it at face value, it looks like something's wrong when there's actually not. So there's a lot of just kind of analysis in that and looking at what's truly happening on the site instead of just looking at like the actual numbers. But the biggest thing too is on your site is to make sure that everything is tracked. So you're seeing the people come in, you're seeing where they're coming from, you're following them through the conversion process. If you have a multi-point conversion process, then you want to make sure that every step is tracked so that you can see that, you lose 30% of the people after step 1, 10% after step 2, whatever that happens to be, because then that also gives you the idea of where the user experience can be improved within your actual conversion funnel. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is to have the data and to have accurate data that is truly telling you what's happening on the website so that you know what to go after.
And one of the things I'm going to piggyback on, and it's something that we see, unfortunately, we've seen a lot over the years, and that is companies actually not even owning their data, and they're just being fed data through an agency's proprietary system, and they get their reports every month, but really they've got nothing. I mean, none of that infrastructure has been built in GA4. I mean, that could be disastrous for a company.
Yes. I've taken over accounts where GA4 wasn't set up at all. So, they're running ads and then Google Ads is set up, but there's nothing in GA4. And so you can't see anything that's happening with the traffic on their site. And I can't even tell you how many accounts I've taken over that when I come in and I say, hey, can you add me to, GA4, Google Ads, all the different platforms. And they say, oh, well, our old agency told us that those are their accounts. They're not our accounts. And that there's few things that make me more irritated than that. So as the client, as the business, you own all of your accounts. That's your data. It's not the agency's data. And you should be the owner so that you can flip through 10 different agencies if you want, but that data is flowing with you. So you want to make sure that you are truly the owner of all of that. You have all of that data and have the access to it.
And that'd be a huge red flag. I mean, if you have a current relationship or you're being solicited a relationship where you're being sold a analytics dashboard that's proprietary, I mean, that's a showstopper right there, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. It should definitely raise red flag when they don't want you to be the owner of your data. And also, if the only way that you can get to your data is by asking them to pull a report from their system. So, you want it to be to where you can go in at any time and pull your data if that's what you want or need to do. So it's just important. It's your data. So it shouldn't be under the ownership or, lock and key from someone else.
All right. Sorry for the rabbit hole, but important. I mean, all this stuff we talk about on this podcast, we talk about SEO, we talk about PPC, we talk about all these things that are generating leads, but it really, foundationally starts with the analytics that you've got set up. And without it, really nothing, you can't validate anything. So had to make a little detour there, but I'm wanting to turn over a new leaf. I want this SEO traffic to convert at a high level. What are the things that we need to do in order to turn our traffic, whatever the number, whatever the amount is, into actual form fills and phone calls?
Yeah. So the first thing that we would do is to go in and do the SEO audit. So we have audits that have, hundreds of items that we're going in and checking. We're going in and checking like page by page and doing like individual page audits to see what would need to change on those pages. And that gives us the direction of where we need to go. That also includes a lot of keyword research, looking at what your competitors are doing, all those things. But one thing that, owners a lot of times are like, oh, I don't know about that you have to be comfortable with actually deleting content off of your site. So if you have pages that were built just for impression's sake, they're not relevant to your business, they're not going to drive leads, whatever it is, then get rid of them. If it's something that, is kind of sitting on the brink of, do I delete it or keep it? Then that may be something that can be repurposed or rewritten or combined with other things. But you just have to be comfortable with going through and being willing to get rid of content that's not working, to add more where it is, and to repurpose, what is sitting kind of in the middle between those two things. I think one of the things too that we look at when we're doing the audit is the pages that are getting the most traffic, and then the pages that are getting the most traffic and the least number of conversions. So say if we were, selling barbecue grills, then if I write a big in-depth article and, have all these kind of sub articles coming off of it about how to create an outdoor space, then would I get people who are maybe looking for a grill to add to their outdoor space? Sure. But in most cases, those people are not going to convert. They're purely in research. I'm trying to figure out what my patio should look like, not what the grill should be on the patio. So we create content that is more specific to that high intent traffic. So, you're looking at, hey, what's the difference between a charcoal grill and a gas grill or pellet or, whatever it happens to be, or, why should I do this versus that? Those kinds of things. And, people are searching for that. And typically when people get down to that point where it's like this versus that, or what's the best of these, those kinds of things, then they're pretty close to buying or signing up for the service or whatever it happens to be. So that's the kind of traffic that we want to focus on, that we want to be able to bring in, is the people who are in that high intent. One of the things with that is that the business has to be comfortable with the fact that the impressions and clicks may actually decrease on their website when we're doing this, but your conversions and your conversion rate will likely increase. So when you're just looking at what your bottom line and what the content's doing to drive that, then overall it will be positive. If you're looking just at I had this big pretty impression number, then it's going to be a losing battle there. So I think it's shifting the focus, or your agency's focus, to leads, sales, whatever your bottom line metric is, to make sure that that is what your traffic is delivering.
SEO without conversions is meaningless. And I really appreciate you coming in and discussing this with us. And for you listening that are interested in more marketing conversations for service businesses, you could head over to serviceimpact.com. We'll see you next time on the Service Impact Podcast.